Thanks for tuning in. Ham Talk Live will be on the air shortly. Please stand by. Thanks for tuning in. Ham Talk Live will be on the air shortly. Please stand by. Thanks for tuning in. Ham Talk Live will be on the air shortly. Please stand by. This episode of Ham Talk Live is brought to you by Tower Electronics. For cables, connectors, and more, call 920-435-2973 or visit pl-259.com. And by the Ham Station. Get your new radio or antenna by calling 800-729-4373 or go to hamstation.com.
It's Ham Radio.
Good evening, everyone. This is Ham Talk Live, episode number 70. It's Field Day 2017 Q&A with Sean Kutzko, KX9X, recorded live on Thursday, June 22nd, 2017. I'm your host, Neil Rapp, WB9VPG. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Ham Talk Live. Tonight, Sean, KX9X, from ARRL is here to talk all about Field Day. We're going to take your calls in just a few minutes. And last week on the show, it was Michael Coulter, WHCI, and he told us all about the pending improvements to next year's Dayton Hamvention. So if you missed that, make sure you listen at hamtalklive.com. Or catch us on one of those podcast things like Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play, TuneIn, SoundCloud. We're also on YouTube. So tonight what we want to do is get as many Field Day questions in as possible. So get your questions ready to go, and the magic phone number for get those dialing fingers warmed up and ready. It's 812-NET-HAM1, 812-638-4261. We'll let you know when we're ready to take those calls, so hang on for a bit. We're going to do a little bit of talk here, but there's not really much change since last year on the rules, so we're hoping to get right to the questions. So, again, that number is 812-638-4261. And the folks at Skype fixed Skype on Friday, so we can take Skype calls and phone calls at the same time again. So you can Skype us and just look for Ham Talk Live on there. You can also tweet us. Our Twitter handle is at Ham Talk Live. So I will be right back with Sean after this word from the Ham Station right here on Ham Talk Live. This episode of Ham Talk Live is brought to you by the Ham Station. For over 37 years, the Ham Station has sold new and used radios, antennas, accessories, and equipment to hams everywhere. Give Dan or Jeff a call at 800-729-4373 or order online at hamstation.com. Ham Station carries all the major brands like ICOM, Yaesu, and Kenwood, and they have a wide selection of radio scanners, MFJ accessories, Heil sound products, amplifiers by Mirage and Ameritron, Cushcraft antennas, and more. Easy online ordering is at hamstation.com or call 1-800-729-4373 to place an order and talk it over with the experts. The Ham Station, proud to sponsor this episode of Ham Talk Live.
You're listening to Ham Talk Live with Neil Rapp. Yesterday, my XYL said she'd leave me if I didn't give up ham radio. Over.
Welcome back to Ham Talk Live, the ham station. They've got you covered. New, used equipment, you name it, give Dan or Jeff a call, 800-729-4373, or go to the old hamstation.com. Tell them you heard it on Ham Talk Live. We're on the air every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time at hamtalklive.com, and also on demand after the show at the website and most popular podcasting sites. Tonight, our guest is Sean Kutzko, KX9X, the former contest branch manager and currently the media and public relations manager at ARRL, the National Association for Amateur Radio. Sean enjoys portable operations, satellites, and QRP the most right now. He's an avid DXer and has had a chance to be the DX several times. Sean's been licensed since 1982 and is originally from Central Illinois and attended the nearby University of Illinois. And Sean's been on the ARRL staff since 2007. And he's also the drummer for the world-famous Spurious Emissions Band. So, Sean, welcome once again to Ham Talk Live.
Hey, Neil, what's going on? How are you?
Oh, doing fine here, and you're racking up the shows now. You did the field day show last year, and we talked about some national parks on the air, and then with the band,
the Spurious Emissions show back in April. So
yeah. So we're glad you're back again. And
I'm getting to be a frequent flyer.
Yeah, exactly. You're racking up the frequent flyer mall, as one of the radio shows like to has this fake caller that's on, the long-time caller, first-time listener. So, it kind of turned it around the other way there. But
right.
Anyway, we're going to talk field day tonight. We want to get everybody all pumped up for field day. Field day is just a couple of days away, and we've been working on a new plan. I'm excited this year because I'm actually, for the first time in I don't know how long, I'm actually going to be able to operate. Because I've been a GOTA coach for so many years that it's like, I don't get to operate, and I'm the contester guy, So I'm excited. We're gonna try something a little different with another school. We're gonna put our schools together and do kind of a school themed field day, and we're going to give it a try this year and see how it goes. So we're putting the high school club together with the university here, and we're going to give it a try.
Sense a whole lot of mentoring opportunities that could occur right there.
Absolutely.
That's a pretty good combo.
Yeah, so we're excited about giving it a try, and so we're going to have a couple of different field days here in the area, and we're excited about giving it a shot and doing something a little different and going after some points. And already, before we even start, the debate has started. Is field day a contest or is field day not a contest? We've talked about that before, but
yes, we have. Is it a floor wax or a dessert topping? The old Saturday Night Live question.
Exactly.
Right. So field day is all of those things. It is, it's a competitive event if you want to make it one. It is an emergency preparedness exercise. It is a public relations event. It's the largest public relations event in North America. Most of the rest of the world, the IARU regions 1 and 3, their big PR event of the year is World Amateur Radio Day on April 18th. But here in the United States, World Amateur Radio Day gets some activity, but not nearly as much as Field Day does. So for us here in the U.S., Field Day is the big PR push that lets us showcase amateur radio to our communities and our served agencies and our elected folks. So Field Day is the big PR event. It can also be the simple club gathering. It can be the potluck dinner Saturday night, So there's no real wrong way to do field day. If you want to make it a contest, try to get as many points as you possibly can. If you want to make it a big PR event and showcase ham radio to your community, you can do that too. Most people combine several different facets of it. If you get a good club involved or a good group of friends, you know, you've got one or two people who are really into the emergency preparedness aspect of it. You got a couple of good contest operators in there, somebody who really enjoys interacting and mingling with the public. So, you know, there's no real one way to do field day, and most clubs take on several different facets at the same time. So everybody gets to be happy during field day.
All right, so get out there and give it a shot. And you know, try to support your local clubs that are out there. And if not, you can operate from home, or you can go portable, or there's all kinds of options. And we're going to talk about a couple of those specific options here momentarily. But first, and we were already getting calls, so hang on, folks. We're going to get there. We're going to get to the calls. But you know, we want to first talk about the changes.
Well, there really aren't any changes this year. It's pretty much the same as it ever was.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Sean Kutzko, and we'll see you next week. No. So yeah, the only change was just some updates on some information, right? That was pretty much it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. There are no major rules changes from last year. If you know, and something that we can talk about in a little bit too, if you want, is for those who are interested in trying to operate satellites and get the satellite bonus points for making a satellite QSO. There are a few new satellites this year that weren't up in the air in 2016, so you've got a few more choices that you can make. But really, there are no major rules changes from 2016. So have at it.
Okay, so we'll get into that a little bit here later too. But last year, right after the show, I checked my email and I had this question from this guy, Dan from Connecticut. And it took me a second, and then I realized, oh, wait a minute, it's that Dan from Connecticut, N1ND, the former field day guru, and he was trying. I think he was trying to
trip
trick
me
you.
up, is what he was trying to do.
Yes, and so he says, "I'll be one person operating on battery power. Would I be Class 1B?"
The answer is yes, he would be Class 1B. There's a confusion that the B in the classes stands for battery, and that's not what the B stands for. The B is just a sub-designator of how you can approach field day. Class A is a lot of people, a club or a non-club. Class B simply means that it's a one or a two-person operation, and the power source does not come into to consideration in determining what letter you operate under as your operating class. Class B just means it's a one or two person operation, real small.
So it could be something else.
Well, under the on-air exchange is always going to be the number of transmitters followed by a letter followed by your ARRL section. And one of the other questions that we commonly get is, do I need to send? If I'm operating with a battery, am I Class 1A battery or 3A battery? And you don't have to say the word battery on the air. What we do is we subdivide some of the power categories in the printed results. But what you say on the air as part of your field day exchange is simply the number of transmitters, the letter that designates your entry class, and your ARRL section. And that's all you have to say.
But you could be 1E.
You could be if you're a home station operating with emergency power, and you could use a battery as emergency power.
So, yeah, so I think that was kind of what he was getting at, was it wouldn't have to be 1B because it depends on...
it depends on your operating location.
Where you're at,
If you're operating from your home... or what we call a fixed station, then yeah, that would be a Class 1E. If you're operating away from a place where amateur radio normally takes place, that would be a Class B. with
Now,
one operator.
We got into that discussion earlier, and and the other setup question here that we had. Okay, you've got a club that has one permanent station, but at that permanent station, they set up portable stations and run on battery power. So, what class would you give them?
Well, the kicker in that one is the fact that they're operating from a permanent station location. I found this out the hard way in 1997, long before I was working for the league, when I was operating in Elkhart, Indiana, and I set up in my garage, and I borrowed a little Honda generator, and I threw a dipole in the tree, and I was all set to be a 1B station, and I found out after the fact that, nope, that's not the case, because I was operating from my own house, and that is a location where amateur radio normally takes place every other day of the year. So because I was on my own property, I had to get reclassified to a 1 Echo station because I was using an emergency power source, but I was operating field day from my permanent location, even though I was using an external power source and I was using a completely different antenna. So that's how a home station or a permanent station is determined.
Okay, so we've got some of that class stuff out of the way. So if you have a question like that, why, here in just a few minutes, you'll be able to give us a call at 812-NET-HAM1 or on Skype at hamtalklive or tweet us, and we're going to take just as many questions as we can tonight. And we've got some other things here that we want to get into, a little bit about the two newer rules, the social media bonus and the safety officer bonus. And we talked about those last year on the show. So if you need some of that information, you can punch up last year's show, but we will try to get to some of that depending on how many calls we have and that kind of thing. So I think what we'll do is go ahead and take a break here and get that out of the way, and then we'll be back to take your calls live right here with Sean, and we'll get to that and take our final break. So I'll be back with Sean, KX9X, right after this message from Tower Electronics here on Ham Talk Live. This episode of Ham Talk Live is brought to you in part by Tower Electronics. Tower Electronics has been the Ham's Dime store since 1978. When you need connectors, mobile and handheld antennas, cables, or adapters, visit Scott or Jill at a Hamfest near you. Or you can order online at pl-259.com or call 920-435-2973. Stock up on those supplies like PL259 and N connectors, SMA adapters, audio cables, soldering supplies, mobile antennas, and ham sticks. Their silver-plated N connectors are even used on the International Space Station. Tower Electronics carries MFJ, Comet, Daiwa, OPEC, Workman, and Ham Pro products. And don't miss their 0% off sale going on now. Tower Electronics, online at pl-259.com, proud to sponsor this episode of Ham Talk Live.
CQ Field Day. CQ Field Day. This is Ham Talk Live with Neil Rapp.
Join the conversation. Call us on voice with Skype at Ham Talk Live or give us a call at 812-NET-HAM1. That's 812-638-4261. Now, here's more Ham Talk Live.
We'd like to thank Scott and Jill at Tower Electronics for sponsoring the show tonight to help bring you Ham Talk Live. July the 8th, they'll be at Oak Creek, Wisconsin, and you can give them a call. If you're not in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, you can call them 920-435-2973 or visit their website at pl-259.com and tell them you heard it right here on Ham Talk Live. We're here every Thursday night at 9 p.m. and make sure, and that's Eastern time, and make sure you check out our Facebook page, Twitter feed, and Instagram. Just search Ham Talk Live and you'll be able to find us. So We even had some interesting tweets today. They were pretty funny. We still haven't figured out what band that tent tunes up on.
It depends on the physical size of the tent. I mean, it could easily load up on 80 or 160, depending on how large the tent is. But, the whole issue of what kind of degree you need in order to get something made out of canvas and tubes like that to load up on 80 or 160, I'll leave that to the experts. Unless you're using a tent tuner.
A tent tuner, yes. We'll leave that to Chip. Maybe Chip can figure that out. Well, it's time for your calls now. If you have a question for Sean, call 812-NET-HAM1. That's 812-638-4261. Or you can Skype your question at Ham Talk Live, or you can tweet us at Ham Talk Live. And so now is the time to call. So give us a call, and we already have one. So I see that Ryan is on here. Is that right?
Yep. My name is Ryan, KC0QMB.
KC0QMB. Thank you for calling in, and go ahead with your field day question.
Well, the field day I'm going to coming up is going to be in a city park. The question is, they'll have commercial power there. However, it's not a permanent location for any of the hams. What classification would that be?
How many people are operating?
I don't know yet. I'm guessing probably 6.
Okay. So the Class A entry category for a larger group, there is a subcategory that we list the scores under that allows the use of commercial power for Class A stations. So you would simply say the number of transmitters and A class if you've got 6 people involved. And your ARRL section, and that would be your exchange. And when the final results come out, you would be scored with the other folks in Class A who are using commercial power. So it's okay for Class A stations to use commercial power. You simply have to declare it, and we'll put you lumped in with the results along with all of the other Class A stations that are using commercial power.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Ryan. Good luck. Have fun.
Thanks for calling, Ryan. Appreciate it. All right, 812-NET-HAM1 is the phone number, 812-638-4261, and yeah, Sean, go ahead and
follow up
on that.
We get a fair number of questions about that. There are folks that are not aware that you can use commercial power as a Class A station. A lot of folks think that if you're using commercial power, you have to be a Class D, a home station with commercial power. But there are plenty of stations every year who are Class A that use a commercial power. You go to a campground, or you rent a cabin, or some sort of event location, like in a park like this gentleman just was talking about, and you have access to commercial power. You're perfectly able to use it, and we'll make sure that in the final results, when we print it in QST, that you'll be listed along with all the other stations that can use commercial power, or Class A stations that are using commercial power. So it's a perfectly valid way to enjoy field day.
All right. Well, if you have a question, give us a call, 812-638-4261, or you can call us on Skype. We're Ham Talk Live on Skype, and you can also tweet us at Ham Talk Live with your field day questions with Sean Kutzko, KX9X from ARRL. While we're waiting on those calls to come in, we kind of teased a little bit about a couple of the newer rules. One of which is the safety officer, and we did talk about that some last year on the show, but remind us a little bit about the role of the safety officer, and I know the checklist has been cleaned up a little bit.
Right. So the safety officer bonus was added recently, and the whole purpose of the safety officer is it's available for Class A stations. And we provided a safety checklist in the 2017 field day packet. And the safety officer is simply somebody that goes around the field day site and makes sure that those items on the safety checklist in the field day packet are met. and you have to sign a waiver stating that all those safety conditions were met, and you need to include that in your field day summary, and you get 100 bonus points for that. So if you're a Class A station and you're really concerned about safety, and you certainly should be, it's a nice way to pick up an extra 100 points and make sure that your field day site is safe, not only for the operators but for any public that comes to visit as well.
And the other newer rule that went into effect last year is the social media bonus. And since you're the PR guy now, that's your thing. So tell us again about the social media bonus.
Well, there's, for a long, long time, there's been ways that you can earn bonus points for public relations, outreach, getting word about your field day effort in the local media, reaching out to your community and making sure that you can get some folks invited. So 2017, social media is a reality for a lot of amateur radio operators and a lot of clubs. And it's been a long time coming that we had an extra bonus available for social media outreach. And you get 100 points by promoting your field day activation to the general public by an active social media platform. So we're talking Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, stuff like that. The idea of this is to give your club the ability to create a social media presence and use that social media presence to establish connections with your elected officials, members of the media in your community, and give you a way to start plugging into your local community. And by being able to promote your field day activity on social media, that gives you a real-time way to post videos and photos and status updates about what's going on at your site. If you are fortunate enough to get an elected official to show up at your site, you can post a photo of them visiting your site and have an immediate response within your local community, assuming that you've friended and started following some of your community leaders or your police, fire, your served agencies and stuff like that. It's a real simple way for you to pick up an extra 100 bonus points for field day. But the long-term implication is that you start connecting with other folks in your community, and that raises your visibility long term. So that's the real goal of the social media bonus.
Okay, so get out there on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Google
you
Plus.
Name it.
Does that
all
count?
Of that.
Google Plus.
Google Plus counts, sure. YouTube.
Does that count?
Sure, stuff like that. It all counts. Is
there anybody on there?
On Google Plus?
Yes.
There are some.
I've been posting some stuff on Google Plus, and I've been trying it out, but I don't know. I still can't get into it.
I make sure that I try to do as much as I possibly can, but I'm finding that even with help in the PR department now, I've got my hands full with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we're starting to check out Snapchat just a little bit. So that's plenty.
Yeah, I agree. 812-638-4261 is the telephone number, or Skype us at Ham Talk Live, or give us a tweet at Ham Talk Live. And we've got a couple more things we can talk about here, but we would like to get your questions answered. So if you have a question for Sean, please give us a call or a tweet and let us know what your question is, and we'll try to answer that. Now, you talked a little bit about the satellites here. So again, while we're waiting on people to chime in with their questions, I know you've been a very active satellite person, and I was reading on our Twitter account some people saying, it's field day and we get all these people onto satellite and then we never hear from them again until the following field day. And so it gets a little overloaded. So talk a little bit about going out and finding a satellite.
Well, satellite operation, as you just mentioned, that's pretty much been my main focus of how I'm enjoying amateur radio lately is getting on the satellites and operating portable and activating different grid squares when I'm traveling doing satellite stuff. It's a lot of fun to get involved with satellite operating, but as with so many other things, if you wait until the last minute to try something out for the first time, and you try to get involved with an event as large as Field Day for the very first time, it can lead to some frustration. And one of the biggest concerns with the satellites is there are two different main types of satellites. There are FM satellites, which basically function like an orbiting repeater. And then there are sideband and CW satellites, which have a transponder in them, which actually gives you real bandwidth. So that's, it's kind of like tuning across 20 meters. You've got a fair amount of frequency spectrum that you can tune across. Sideband and CW satellites, multiple QSOs can occur on those satellites simultaneously. But the FM satellites, because they're like an orbiting repeater, the capture effect kicks in, and so only one station can use an FM satellite at a time. And when you get a lot of people trying to access an FM satellite on Field Day weekend, you get a lot of people who are trying to talk at the same time, and it can get very congested very quickly, and not a lot of QSOs can be made that way. So there are some tricks to the trade of how you can have a successful Field Day QSO during Field Day. If you FM satellites are by far the easiest to get involved with because all you need is a dual band HT and a directional antenna on 2 meters and 70 centimeters. There's two FM satellites right now. SO50 is the main one, and then there's another one called AO85. And we've got in the Field Day packet, we've got frequencies, uplink and downlink frequencies for each one of those satellites available in the Field Day packet, so you know where to tune during the pass. But if you're trying to just make one QSO on one of the FM satellites, there are some tricks to have a little bit more success. One trick is try operating a satellite pass in the middle of the night, because there will be fewer people that are on for those particular passes, and so your chances of success will go up a little bit. Another strategy that you can consider is if you live near either the East Coast or the West Coast, what you can do is you can pick a satellite pass where the satellite is tracking mainly over water, and only a little bit of the satellite's footprint comes into contact with the land, whether it's the East Coast or the West Coast. It doesn't, either one, it doesn't matter. Because if you've got only a sliver of land that's available in the footprint, you will reduce the number of stations that have access to the satellite. And again, that will increase your chances for a successful QSO during a very busy weekend on the FM satellites. I personally would like to see everybody be able to make a satellite QSO. I personally think that it's one of the most exciting ways to enjoy amateur radio. But if you've got a finite resource like an FM satellite, only one person can talk at a time, and a satellite pass is a maximum of, say, 15 minutes or so. That's a real short window of opportunity for folks to get into the FM satellite. If you have the ability to move up to the analog satellites using sideband or CW, I would recommend that you give that a try, because there's just more spectrum for you to have success. There's a little bit more, there's a little bit more tuning involved, and it's a little bit trickier, because you have to find your downlink audio in the spectrum in the transponder. So that takes a little getting used to be able to find how your transmitted signal on the uplink corresponds to the downlink frequency, and you have to have two radios to do that. But if you can get past that hurdle, making QSOs on the sideband satellites like FO29 and some of the Chinese satellites that were launched recently, the XW series of satellites, it's much easier to actually complete on a QSO on a sideband satellite during periods of heavy usage than it is on an FM satellite. So if all you have is FM, go for it. Try some of those tips that I just talked about. If you have the ability to do sideband, I think that you will have a higher rate of success.
But you could even, just do FM with a simple little dual band handheld.
I often go out with a simple dual band handheld, and I use a directional antenna called an ARRL antenna. It's a handheld Yagi. It's 3 elements on 2 meters, 7 elements on 70 centimeters. Just using a 5-watt HT and that antenna, and I can make FM QSOs through the SO50 satellite on a regular basis.
And you could even use one of those real cheap handheld radios, couldn't you?
If you get one of those dual band bow fangs, I think you could do it.
Okay, I finally talked him into saying the word bow fang. If you don't know, anytime somebody says the word bow fang, we've got the bow fang clip from the Spurious Emissions Band, which Sean's the drummer for, and so
destined to enter the Billboard Top 10,000 any day now.
Any day now, absolutely. Have you got that royalty check yet from the Bow Fang song?
Yeah, 0.3 of a penny. I don't know where I'm going to spend it.
Wow, there you go. So, yeah. Anyway, that's the Bow Fang story. So, get out there, give it a shot. We've got a few minutes left. If you want to call in, 812-638-4261, which spells 812-NET-HAM1, or you can Skype us or tweet us at hamtalklive. So get your calls in. We're running out of time here. We have about 6 minutes left. So now's the time to call if you're going to call. Remind us a little bit about the Field Day Locator.
The Field Day Locator is a really great tool. You can post your club's Field Day sites on the Field Day Locator so that people who are looking for a place to operate can search by state. They can look it up on the map. It's a Google Map interface, so it's a way for your club to promote your field day effort on Google Maps. It gives you an area to provide your address, where you're going to be set up, your talk-in frequency, your website address or phone number if people need to, so people can contact you and get more information. And if you are an operator that is looking for a field day site to join, then all you got to do is look up on the Field Day Locator site and type in your location, and you can find any number of field day sites that are close to you. So it's a wonderful tool, and you can find that on the field. You can find a link to that on the Field Day website, which is www.arrl.org/field day, all one word.
Okay, there we go. So you can find a location nearest you. 812-638-4261 is the phone number, or Skype or tweet. We've got time for one call if you can get that in, or tweet. What are some of the most common scoring mistakes that people make that they should watch for?
I would say one of the biggest scoring mistakes is simply computing the bonus points incorrectly. There are a lot of bonus points options out there. Everything from the social media and the safety officer that we just talked about, the number of youth operators that you can have. You get a bonus if you have a person on your team that is 18 years or younger. The go-to station points can be a little confusing to some folks. So anytime you're dealing with issues of bonus points, make sure you read the rules and make sure that you're computing your bonus points correctly. And of course, if you ever have a question about that, if you're trying to fill out your score summary sheet so you can submit it in to us so we can print your results, if something's a little confusing to you, by all means, just give us a call. We've got we have operators standing by for your call, and you can also drop us an email too. fieldday@arrl.org. We'd be happy to answer your question. We'd rather answer your question and clarify things for you before you submit your score to us, rather than have to tell you that there's an error in your score. Rather than tell you that there's an error in your score after you've already submitted it. So if you got a question, just let us know. There's another common one is the multiplier factor between low power and QRP power. It's a common misconception that if you're running QRP, you automatically get a multiplier score of 5. And that's not true. In order to get the 5 times multiplier, you not only need to be running 5 watts or less, but your power source cannot be commercial mains, and it cannot be a motor-driven generator. So that means that you're usually talking batteries as your power source, or one of the alternative power sources, such as solar or wind power, something like that. So the 5 times multiplier is a very, very common issue that we see. Just because you're running QRP does not mean that you automatically qualify for the multiplier factor of 5.
All right, very good stuff. And the other thing you mentioned we might talk about is the VHF UHF station is a freebie.
That is a freebie for Class A and F stations. The VHF station is it's a great way to get more exposure to the VHF portion of the band. 6 meters, 2 meters, all the way up to 440 if you're living in a population center. 6 meters has been really, really good this year, and if sporadic e-propagation opens up on 6 meters, then that would be a great way to get a whole bunch of free points, because the VHF transmitter doesn't count against your main transmitter category. So if you're, say, for example, 3 alpha, you can set up a dedicated VHF station on 6 meters and 2 meters and still stay in the 3 alpha category. It doesn't count against your transmitter class. So if sporadic E opens up on 6 meters, that's a great way to earn a bunch of free points.
All right. Well, there we have it, folks. It's Sean Kutzko, KX9X from ARRL, the Public Relations Manager and formerly the Contest Branch Manager. And so we'd like to thank you for coming on the show and talking to us and letting us know about all those tricky scoring questions and everything. And look forward to hearing you on this weekend. And you will be operating as?
I will be a 1 Bravo station this year. Actually, I have a wedding party that I have to attend, but I'm not involved in all of it. So I'll be bringing some QRP gear and some satellite gear with me. And I'll be setting up there's a nice little park right across from the hotel where the wedding party I'm going to be at in. So listen for KX9X, 1 Bravo, Connecticut.
All right, very good. And I'll be operating with my high schoolers, and we're joining up with the Indiana University group, so we'll be under K9IU. So if you hear K9IU, it may be me. We'll see. So, Sean, thanks so much for coming on the show, and thanks to everybody out there for listening and calling in, and we invite you back next Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time when Jim Wilson, K5ND, will be here, and he's going to talk about this year's Boy Scout Jamboree on the air and Jamboree on the internet. And for a list of all of our upcoming guests, you can find that over at hamtalklive.com, as well as a picture of Flat Hammy. Don't forget, take pictures with Flat Hammy this summer from your field day or from a ham fest or vacation, wherever. We'd love to see your pictures with Flat Hammy, so you can get that on our social media sites or on the schedule page over at hamtalklive.com. So for now, this is Neil Rapp, WB9VPG, saying 7375, and may the good DX be yours.